You're not losing money in your e-commerce business because you're picking a product that doesn't look good. You're picking a product that's not in demand. Welcome. My name is Xavier Ansley-Black, founder of The Black Wealthy. And today in this video, I'm going over how you should pick the right product that is in demand for your e-commerce business. So sit tight, stay tuned, take some notes, get a stack, and let's jump right in. So let's get into the first point. You're not making products that don't look good. They probably look great. The problem is they're not in demand. And that's our first point. Fire products don't guarantee sales. You see, a customer, a consumer, they want a product that is either A, gonna give them identity, B, gonna be convenient for them, or C, it's just a solution that they need. When somebody goes to buy a vacuum, it's because they want to vacuum the floor, of course. But if your product doesn't fit into one of these situations, then you're going to be, going hard for something that is just, going to be hard for you to sell. So we're going to get into some examples of, how some business owners are doing it great, and they're pushing the narrative for their brand. So let's get into it. First, we're going to take a look at Remedy by Ari. So if everyone knows Ari Fletcher, she's a social media influencer, an entrepreneur, a business owner, and she's just leading the game right now. So as we look at it, if we look at her website, we see, she's selling cosmetic items, but they're never going out of style in today's world. Women, I'm not even gonna say women, because if you're a man that uses cosmetic items, all power to you. But these items are something that's never gonna go out of, they're never gonna go out of style. And then too, you get to walk around and say, hey, I'm using Remedy by Ari. So it's giving you some status, it's giving you some identity, and also it's useful. So this is an idea or a framework that you can look at as an example that's something that's useful. So her presentation is great. Women, men, whoever that wants to use these products can go on here and get it. You can see clearly her products right here. When you go on her website, you don't have to hunt for them. And then the presentation of the website looks good as well, so you know what you're getting. You can have a fire product, but if it's not convenient for your customer, if it's not going to solve any of their problems, then it's not going to be in demand, so it's not going to sell. Since we just were talking about demand, that actually leads into our next point, which is demand always beats aesthetic every time. So before you start worrying about logos, the colors of your brand, what your website is going to look like, you need to be asking yourself, is the product that I'm going to put out, going to be in demand by somebody? And you can judge that by, are people already buying this sort of item? Is there already a need for it? Or do you know people that are already searching for this? And I'm not talking about your one or two one-offs. I mean, you could be a person that comes up with innovation, that just blows up. But usually a lot of things is not reinventing the wheel, it's, putting your own motion or your own flavor on what's already going. So you need to be looking at, what are people already buying? What do you go in the store today and see? And how can you, create something on your own with its own identity that can do that? So, today, since I'm rocking The Black Wealthy, we're talking about The Black Wealthy, you're watching The Black Wealthy, we're gonna go look at our website. So when you go to our website, you basically see, hoodies and jerseys. That's what we have right now. We're working on future collections, future drops coming out. But when you come, you see jerseys, you see people are wearing jerseys everywhere. They're making their own custom ones. We're adding our own flavor to it in terms of like stitching, custom tags, and of course our branding and everything like that. But it's something that somebody can wear, and it's versatile for men, women of all ages, all sizes. So if you go to hoodies, We have our version of our rhinestone hoodie. Um, and then we called it the Blizzard because there's rain, snow thing. There's rhinestones everywhere. It's giving the Blizzard effect. And then also too, I don't know if it's doing it, but it just hits. Like the hoodie just hits in terms of like blinging out and makes it look like it stands out. So it's with our hoodies and jerseys, and even the stuff that we're looking at putting out. There's a lot of different people that can wear this. One, and then it's heavyweight, heavy feel, so you're getting something of good quality. And then at the same time, it's functional. It's gonna do what you need to do, and you can wear this a lot of different ways. You can wear this out. You can wear this to a meeting. You can go to brunch in it. You can go to breakfast in it. It's gonna keep you warm, and then too, it's gonna give you something great to wear. So these are something that you can already go look at and see that's already in demand by people, but we're just taking it our own and we're making our own flavor to it. And then too, the main thing is we're creating a community for the culture. That's the ultimate goal behind this. Moving right along, we're just building on top of everything. So that leads us into our next point about picking the right product is consumers are buying identity. They're not just buying a product. You can get a phone from anywhere. You can get a hoodie from anywhere. You can get, you can get shoes from anywhere, but you're buying what that brand represents. So you need to think about that when you're choosing your product and when you're building it out and structuring. Because the thing is, this is where brand and product selection meets. Because people are not just buying products, that they see. They're buying the meaning and the representation behind it. So when they step outside, when somebody else sees them using it, they feel included. Here's the next thing. We're just gonna take a look at, I grew up like everybody wearing polo. So like Ralph Lauren. So when you look at Ralph Lauren's website, we see sophistication. You're presentable. You look like you can go somewhere. So like now, when you put on polo, somebody thinks to themselves, oh, I'm going to school. I'm going to a country club. I'm going out golfing today, or I'm going to brunch. This is just what they pride themselves, looking like. Even here, we can see on the screen that the Winter Olympics gear, it still gives sophistication. I mean, they're creating sets to walk out on, the Olympic Games with, like the meet and greets, the opening ceremonies. I think it's called. But they're coming in and they're looking put together, and it's giving them a sense of upper echelon type of feel when they have it on, and that's the branding that they've built over time. So that just goes back to say, like, consumers, your customers, who you're trying to build for, they're buying your identity. They're not just buying your product. So make sure you market and present yourself in that same way. Next up, how to put this, all into action. Once you come up with your ideas, you be like, hey, I think I have a winning product. You need to validate it before you go buy anything in like huge bulk. Or if you're tight for pennies and you can't like invest a whole lot, you need to start small and see what might hit the best to get you going. So you need to validate your product before spending a whole lot of money. And that's one of the biggest mistakes people make. They go buy all of this stuff, or one, they don't have the marketing tools yet, or they don't know how to market to get things out. And that could be anything: Instagram, TikTok. Right now you're watching this on YouTube, so anything that you can do to basically push your brand, push your identity. Here at the Black Wealthy, we pride ourselves in, quality apparel, and also learning and being ambitious and empowering people to be the best version of themselves. So that's our identity and what we're building upon. But for you, what you can do is, at least product wise, ask some of your friends. Go and ask a random person. If you have a sample, what I do is I just wear the sample. Like, I'll go around some people, and if you get some people like, hey, where'd you get that from? Or you're using that, like, you know, you're using that item, like where'd you get your phone case from? It might be a custom phone case or anything like that. And you know, you see people have a demand for it. For my brand, the Black Wealthy, I see that, you know, people tend to like what we have, but the thing is now just getting it out there and making people aware of. Just yesterday, I shipped the order to somebody in Texas, but that came from, and then I use Shopify, so Shopify tells you where the customer came from. That person saw the brand on Instagram. So if it wasn't for me trying to market on Instagram or promote that way, you know, they wouldn't have known, I wouldn't have got that sale. So, but doing all of these things, in terms of marketing, wearing your samples, asking around, collecting emails. Once you sent, you know, establish your brand, you can send out test images and stuff like that to your email list. Shameless, I use Xavier for my email list. You also can use MailChimp. I've heard of that one before. And there's another one I'm forgetting, but there's like a 4 or 5 main, but Klaviyo, MailChimp is like the top 2 I hear all the time for email collections and sending out stuff like that. All of that brings us to our last point. Choose your first product smartly. How do you choose that first product smartly? Doing all the things that we've talked about in this video. Answer your questions pretty much. What solution are you solving? What identity are you giving to your customers, your potential consumers that you want to bring into, you know, pretty much your brand? And basically, what are they going to use this for and build upon it? So you need to choose 1 or 2 products, not a whole bunch. That's why if you go to our website, we have jerseys, we have hoodies. And also too, that's because, you know, we put out a jersey when it was a little warmer, a hoodie when it got cold, you know, right before Christmas. So if you're doing lip gloss or something like that, you're not gonna be worried about the season. But in terms of clothing, you know, think about that as well. What problem are you solving when that is set to release? Because for myself, it takes me 3-4 months at minimum before I decide on what I want to release, between getting samples, building up a marketing idea, campaign, and going from there. So, you know, from there, just market. That's your biggest thing. Build that trust, build that identity within your brand so you can start getting that momentum by word of mouth. Because most brands don't fail because their stuff doesn't look good. Again, they fail because they didn't pick what was in demand, and then they didn't market intentionally. And, you know, just hit the ground running and come up with as many creative content ideas as you can. If you stayed this far, watch the whole thing. Of course, subscribe, follow the brand on Instagram at The Black Wealthy. You can follow me, Xavier AB, on Instagram. That's where I'll be at. Come get some motivation for fitness. See what I have going on from, you know, here and there. I model a little bit, so you can tune in there. As far as the next video, I'm breaking down pre-order versus pre-made. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you can watch that one. All right.